love for you to maybe open up and give a bigger picture of how things like energy and healing and mindfulness and conscious awakening and spirituality actually play a role in the bigger teachings of yoga.
Right. Well, that's a mouthful of a question. So I'll roll back a little bit. I took my first yoga class way back in the 80s, probably longer than some people have even been alive that are watching this. And the first time I took it, it was a friend of mine, and he was super bendy, like a wet noodle, and he was doing all these crazy poses. And I'm like, it's not for me. It's not for me. I was very involved in the fitness industry at that time, teaching all the latest crazes. And then a few years, so I left it. And so then a few years later, I met a teacher that I brought into some health clubs that I was running in Southern California. And he had been trained very traditionally in a very traditional style in India. I ended up really connecting to his way of teaching the style of yoga, and ended up studying with his teacher in India as well. So I really had this deep rooted education within yoga's tradition out of India. And at the same time, I'm a kinesiology, health and nutrition professor. So then I also had the physiology to go along with it. And as I started to bring yoga into these health clubs, we started very traditionally, and we were one of the first to really bring it into health clubs. And my teacher would chant in Sanskrit, which is like in a health club, like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Is this a cult? This is really weird. But it was how I was taught to really honor the practice. Well, fast forward now, so many decades later, and yoga has really, in order to appeal to a Western audience, has been diluted or marginalized down to a point where people think it is a Circus Soleil act in many ways. And if you go through any social media, that's exactly what it looks like, that it's only for the young and bendy, and that it is all about, the shape of your body. And real yoga is not about the shape of your body. Real yoga is about the shape of your life. And that's really what we're looking at. Yoga is not something that we do as a performance. Yoga is something that is a lifestyle, and it embodies the body, mind, and spirit. So while the premise of making yoga more accessible to more people in the Western world, what's happened is it has really diluted its original intent to the point that it barely taps the surface of what yoga is really meant to be. And yoga is a complete lifestyle of body, mind, and spirit. So the way most people come to yoga is, hey, I'm feeling better. It's going to heal some old injuries, and they come through the musculoskeletal system, right? And the difference is, and I just want to point this out, there's a difference between fitness versus health, right? So I came from the fitness background. I went to school on an athletic scholarship. I understand fitness really well. And fitness is really about being able to successfully do an athletic endeavor or exercise. Whereas health is really a full integrated system so that your whole body is in balance. Everything, your hormones, your nervous system, the musculoskeletal system, everything. So yoga looks at the whole person in balancing health, body, mind, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so I think that we're going to have a turnaround, especially after 2020, which was such a challenging year for so many people, that they're looking for those emotional and mental benefits, and also the connection to something bigger than themselves in a yoga practice.